This video is all about answering one of life's biggest questions, perhaps the biggest question of them all. Is life governed by fate or free will? And we're going to answer that for you. I am Brent Michael Phillips. I am the founder and creator of the Awakening Dynamic System of Energy Healing and Higher Consciousness. And this video is number 9 of 9 in our series on answers to life's biggest questions. And I'm going to give you the answer definitively right here in this video, once and for all. However, if this is the first video in the series you've seen, if it bothers you because I haven't addressed things like, hey Brent, why do you think you know this? Why should I believe you? What reason do you have to think this is true? If you're thinking any of that and it's bothering you, hit pause, make a new browser window, go check out video number 1 in the series. I'm going to hit that head on. Explain to you where I learned this, how I learned it, why I think it's true, and what to do with this. Awesome, so let's rock and roll. This is, I think, perhaps the biggest question of them all. Is life governed by free will, where we make decisions and take actions, and the results and consequences we experience come from those actions from a place of free will? Or is life governed by fate? Are things just destined to occur in a certain way? Are we just biological robots running around executing code? Not too much different than an advanced computer. So I thought about this a lot, and I'm going to give you the answer, though it may strike you as a little bit of a Zen answer, because here's the thing. You are not asking the right question. Why is that? Here's the right question. The question that will lead you to the answer is this. What exactly is the you that would have the free will? What exactly is that? And if you're thinking, well, it's just me, duh, that means, sorry to say, you're asleep. It's okay. Just because you haven't woken up doesn't make you less of a person. It's no judgment. It's like saying that, well, you know, this 6-year-old graduated kindergarten and this one hasn't yet. Does it matter? No, who cares? If you want to graduate kindergarten, go and you'll graduate. Not a big deal. So most of us are still asleep. It's okay. I was for the first 40-some years of my life, even though I was a professional healer for a decade before my own awakening. So nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing. When we're asleep, we think we know what we are. You're like, oh, it's me. But we tend to think of us as kind of sitting up here in our head behind our eyes. That's kind of you, right? If I say close your eyes and point to where you are, this is where you go. So we think we're in here making decisions, do this, say that, blah, blah, blah. What is that you? That's the question you have to answer. And only then can you clearly see and understand the answer about fate or free will. Now, I'm going to do the best I can to lay it out for you right here in this video. And if you want to go a lot deeper, I have a program for exactly this. It's called 30 Days to Awakening, and it's a step-by-step tutorial with guided meditations, step-by-step over 30 days to give you all the knowledge as well as subconscious clearings. That's a real big part of it. If you can't reach into the subconscious, you probably won't get there, so that you will be fully awake. Now, most people start to wake up by day 10 to 14. It may not take you 30, but it is absolutely life-changing. Check it out if you really want to understand this, if you really are serious about evolving your consciousness and eliminating suffering in your life as you move to ascension. This is the only way we get there. Absolutely mandatory step is knowing what you are. So in this video, I want to explain it the best I can while keeping it short enough to watch. What do most of us think we are? Well, most of us think we're the ego. What is the ego? Well, quite simply, the ego is that which defines you as somehow separate or distinct from everything else in the universe that is not you. In other words, if you're really hungry and I eat dinner, it doesn't help your hunger, does it? That's right. If you're really tired and I take a nap, that doesn't help you, because our bodies are, in some relative reality at least, separate. So that's an aspect of the ego, that which defines you as separate from that which is not you. There's also a mind. Of course there is. The only reason that this video and these words make any sense to you is because you have a mind that understands English. It's that simple. So clearly there's a mind. You got a mind, I got a mind, that guy over there has a mind. Sure. And they are somehow separate. If I go read a book, you do not get the knowledge in your mind. somehow separate and distinct. We also have a soul. Absolutely. There's different terminology we'll use. Some people call it a spirit. Some people call it a higher self. Some people call it a soul. The way I see it, they're kind of the same thing, very similar. Is there a soul? Yes. The soul is just as real as the mind or the body. But notice that the soul itself is also separate. It's a being, it's a thing. Why? You got a soul, I got a soul, and that guy over there has a soul. Yes, they're all somehow separate and distinct. Something that happens to my soul doesn't affect your soul. The same way that if I go out and hit my car hood with a hammer, it doesn't dent your car. Same kind of thing. So a human being is this three-part body-mind-soul complex. And that is what almost all of us think is us. Some identify more strongly with the body. If you go, you're really proud, wow, I'm strong, or I'm beautiful, or I'm managed to live to a long age, whatever it is. If you identify with your body, that's the aspect of ego you are most closely tied to. Others of us identify more with the mind. If you're more identified with what you know, what you've learned, how much money you make, things like this, that's a mind level identification. Others learn to identify more with the soul. Non-attachment. A lot of our greatest teachers were this way. They weren't as concerned about the body and the mind because they know they're temporary. The soul is eternal. But even the soul is a false identification. Even that is not you. And I know this is a little esoteric, but this is how we answer the question, people. What is it that has the free will? That's your key. When you can answer that definitively, you know exactly what is this you that might have the free will. It will be clear and obvious. Until then, it's going to be confusing and mysterious. Pretty cool stuff. We're not done. I got a lot more to say. I just want to say if you're enjoying this video, if you like this kind of content, please take a moment right now. Click like, click subscribe. I know you're way too cool for that, but do it anyway, because YouTube needs to know if you like this. It'll give you more videos like this. Maybe more of mine, maybe more of other teachers. So take a moment. Pay it forward. Do it for the people who are watching the video after you. And heck, if you're the kind of person that says, screw the rest of the world, I'm just going to do what's easiest and best for me, then you probably shouldn't even be here. So please go. I'm more about people that want to work together to improve the world, that don't just want to get rich at someone else's expense, right? So if you like it, click the little bell. You'll get automatic notifications when I release new videos. So let's talk about this. Why is it that this is difficult? Why is it that it's hard for us to understand you? Well, it's pretty simple. Almost all of us have spent our whole lives thinking we're some kind of being. Maybe you think you're a human being. If you're very identified with the body, certainly, or the mind. Maybe you think you're a man or a woman. Maybe you think you're some kind of soul or reincarnating spirit that's created a body. I know a lot of New Age teachers teach that. Here's the truth. There is a relative reality where that may be true and useful, but ultimately it's incorrect. Because here's what it comes down to. If you are a being, then clearly there's something that is not you, right? If you got a body, there's some body that's not your body. If you have a mind, there are minds that are not your mind. So there has to be more than one. The same is true of the soul. I got a soul, you got a soul, that guy over there has a soul. They're somehow separate and distinct. But notice, all of our greatest spiritual teachers of almost every tradition, all over the world throughout history, have given us a common message. So maybe, just maybe, we might want to pay attention. And it's this: we are all one. We are all connected. We are all the same. The separation is an illusion. It looks that way, but it's not actually true. And I know you've heard that. In fact, take a moment, go down to the comments. Let me know where you first got your ideas about this stuff. Did you read it in the Bible? Did you get into Buddhist philosophy? Did your parents make you go to Sunday school? Were you watching the History Channel? I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear the stories and get to know the people that are into this, because our community, our group, is what's going to move us forward. No one can get very far as a lone wolf. So I'd love to hear from you. Put some comments in. Let's chat. Let's talk. I will aim to personally answer every single question posted here. Personally. My assistant doesn't do it. I do it. Cool. So what is you? What is you that has this free will? Well, let's eliminate the obvious candidates. Does the body have free will? No. We know that's the case for the most part because the mind tells it what to do, right? I can sit here all day looking at my hand. It does nothing. And I say, hey, hand, pick up the pen sitting on the computer table. Boom, it does it. So clearly the body doesn't really have free will. It's told what to do, either by the mind or by its own DNA. That's how the body knows what to do, right? So it's really not the mind either, because the mind is an artificial construct. That is the mind really where you are? Can the mind have free will? No. The mind is very much like a computer. It just runs code. It cannot have an original thought on its own. So I think you won't find the free will within the mind. And then we look at the soul. Is it there? Maybe. But if, again, the souls are separate. So if there was a place for it within the ego, it would certainly be in the soul. But that doesn't really fit either, does it? Because how would a decision be made? And so here's what it comes down to, is what are you? You are not a being. You are not a thing. You are not any kind of noun. And so that eliminates the body, the mind, the soul, as well as any separate aspect of the ego. What you are is awareness itself. You are a verb. You are the divine God awarenessing in every moment. And there's only one of that. And so here's the final answer. Once and for all, fate or free will. There is free will, but it does not reside within the ego. It all comes from the divine spark, the one awareness, the God, the Spirit, the divine that is in all of us. This is why Jesus said man is made in the image of God. Not that God had 2 arms and 2 legs and a head and such, but because the image of the awareness. We are the same on the inside. There's only one of us. And so to fully answer this, we need to look at what you are as not one thing, but multiple things with different layers. Is there a body? Yes. Is that a part of you? Yes. As is the mind and the soul? Yes. But you are far greater than any of those things because you are all bodies, all minds, all souls. So there is a part of you, that awarenessing on the inside, that is the essence of the divine, the God within the human. That part of you has ultimate free will, can create or experience anything. But most of us are completely tied up in our identification with the ego or some aspect of it. Maybe it's the body, maybe it's the mind, maybe it's the soul. But none of them can on their own do much because they're all separate beings. They can have no power on their own. So is life governed by fate or free will? Depends on what level of you we're talking about. As far as the ego goes, the mind and the body, there is no free will. We are merely biological robots running code. The code is the subconscious. Who wrote the code? God wrote the code. It's that simple. The divine wrote the code to be exactly who you need to be. Those are your soul contracts, people. It's the code in your subconscious. They're written in there. That's how it works. And it's such a beautiful thing. So again, the mind, the ego, any part of separation has no power, no free will. It is more or less destined. In the same way that you have a computer run code, you can predict what's going to happen. Why? If you know the code, you can know exactly how it's going to go. So from the perspective of that which is separate, the being, the human, the mind, the ego, everything is fated. There is no free will, there's only destiny. It's fate. But from the point of awareness of the divine spark, the creative center within us, that is the all that is, we have ultimate and complete unrestricted free will. And if you don't understand this, awesome, that's great. No one fully understands this the first time. Now, if you've been studying awakening for a couple decades and teaching it and all that, maybe you do. Awesome. So maybe if Jim Drever, Ayashante, some of the people I followed and learned from, if you guys are watching this, you probably get it. But for almost everyone learning this stuff, awakening is like quantum physics. If you think you get it the first time, you didn't get it at all. Hopeless, forget about it, dumpster fire, start again. No one understands this right away. As far as humans go, I got a really big brain. Off the charts IQ, honors awards, academics, top of my class at MIT, got a near perfect LSAT score with no preparation, taking it on a dare. I go on and bore you with all my achievements, doesn't matter. Just know, I got a really good brain as far as human brains go. I couldn't figure this out, it took me decades. But with awakening, it all starts to make sense. So if you'd like to journey deeper, I'm waiting at the bottom of the rabbit hole with a pick and a shovel and a light on my head. I'll take you deeper. Check out the links in the descriptions. Check out 30 Days to Awakening. That is designed to do exactly this. So you don't need to watch a video on fate or free will. You'll know exactly what the answer is on the inside, 100% for sure. And oh yeah, by the way, you'll also make a lot more money. You'll enjoy your life more. You'll live longer. And everything will more or less be a lot better because you're not resisting it so much. It's really that simple. So again, I want to summarize for everybody. If you're confused by this, that's great. It means you're on the right track and you're getting it. Keep at it. You will get it. I had to study this stuff 10 years after I became a full-time healer. Only then did I get it. My job is to make it easier. So you can get it, a lot of it for free right here on YouTube. And if you want to go deep and get all the rest of it, you can go on my website, get it for a small amount of money. So if you like this, if you want to go deeper, would love to have you come to one of my live webinars, contact me for a private, do one of my intensives, just reach out. Because again, the goal is not to get you to believe what I say, because I say it. It's to lead you that this is a possibility and give you the tools and resources and knowledge to have your own experience and to see for yourself if this is real or not. And I know if you do, you will, because it is real. But don't take my word for it. Go see for yourself. We are now at the end of our series. And it's kind of funny for me to think about saying, wow, now I think we've covered the answers to most of life's biggest questions. I hope you found it to be some combination of informative, educational, and transformational. And please, again, click like, click subscribe, check out my website, get in touch. I would love to work with you, blow your mind, and make your life way better than it is today. So until we see you next time, please take care and namaste.